And what we're doing right now, this whole internet, way of disseminating information has really cracked a lot of stuff open.
Yeah.
A lot of those subcultures now are,
Oh my God.
they have outlets. Everybody's got an outlet. Everybody's Walter Cronkite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
And that's the way it is. He ended everything because he
Did
was
he
like,
end it like that?
yeah,
That's
every
the way
night.
it
It was a
is. Oh my
CBS
God.
Evening News. He was the most trusted man in America.
Jeez.
And he was the one that when he went to Vietnam, and this was probably 71 or so, something like that. Could it have been 71? Or no, it was earlier because Johnson was still president. So it must have been 67. And he went to Vietnam because a lot of people were saying this is ridiculous. They're giving us fake information about, because they had these body counts. And every night on the news, they'd say, 742 Vietnamese were killed and 11 Americans. And he was like, okay, every night we're killing like 100 times more of them than us. And yet this isn't, So he went and he came back and was like, I just have to tell you what I saw there. This is a travesty. People are dying for no reason. It's a quagmire. There's no way out. And President Johnson said, when we've lost Walter Cronkite, we've lost the war. And so that was like, he decided not to run for re-election. And that was sort of a big turning point. But yeah, every night he said, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. Wow. This is what we want you to believe. That's it. There's nothing else.
Yeah.
But that's actually cool that he did that and exposed the truth.
Yeah. Well,
that's
the thing. I mean, on the one side, you say, okay, there were only 3 outlets. It was totally mainstream, corporate control, blah, blah, blah. But on the other side, they were journalists. They took themselves seriously as journalists.
Journalism still mattered.
Right.
As a
Who's
real
doing
thing.
it now? Fucking Bill O'Reilly, these Fox News idiots, the MSNBC people. They're all just readers. They're not journalists. They're people who sit there and read and give their opinions, right? But they're not going out in the field and digging into stories. They didn't work their way up, most of them, through newspapers and, on the city beat for 10 years before they got a shot at, local TV. And then, they didn't go through that. So they don't have this allegiance to journalistic integrity. It's all about viewers now. And I don't know if you know this, but when the TV networks were set up, Congress passed a law saying, okay, we're going to give you this airspace, that you can use because there's a certain limited number of frequencies or frequency bandwidth, I guess, that they can broadcast. So we're giving you this, but it's sort of like public land, right? Like we're going to let you graze there, but you have to pay something for it. So it was like that. Like we're going to let you use these frequencies, but I don't remember what percentage it was, but something like 10% of your programming has to be for public good and with no view toward income generating. In other words, you need to set aside 10% of this airtime just to make this a better country for public education. So they weren't trying to make money on the news. The news was a loss. It lost money every night. Now, of course, news is just like anything else, and they've totally abandoned that pact between the government and the corporations.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the medium has an impact, right? Like it dictates kind of the style of what we're going to be getting and the corporate interests that are attracted to it,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's funny, I was watching Back to the Future, one of my favorite movies of all time. Watch it again and again. It's pretty layered. They put some Easter eggs in there. This one scene in particular where
Easter eggs.
Yeah. Like Marty goes back to 1955. Spoiler alert for anyone. Right?
Yeah, what's the statute of
What's the
limitations?
statute of limitations on spoiler alerts?
It's like, yeah, right.
So he goes back to 1955 on the marquee where he there's like a movie theater in town. It says, whatever, Betty Goodman and Ronald Reagan, like as in the movie. And he's trying to explain to Doc, like, hey, man, I'm from the future. I've come back. He's like, oh, yeah, future boy. Well, who's the president in 1985? As if that is like a qualifying answer that can hold weight in his world for some reason.
Yeah.
He's like, Ronald Reagan. He's like, the actor? Well, who's the vice president? Jerry Lewis, And then Doc later is looking at his camcorder and he goes, I understand why your president has to be an actor now because of this. It's like that medium dictates
right.
what we get. and what is attracted to that thing, and now it's like fucking chaos.